أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، إن شاء الله we are starting tonight Tafsir of Surah An-Nur. First, I'd like to make few introductions to this session, inshallah. This session is the first session in the Tafsir of this Surah. But the Tafsir or the explanation of this Surah is part of a program. It is part of a program. That program is young professional mentorship. Means brothers, originally brothers, some sisters also online, but mainly brothers who come for mentorship in the past year or so with me to learn about Islam in an in-depth manner, covering the different branches of our deen: Aqidah, fiqh, jurisprudence, Aqidah, faith, jurisprudence, Tafsir, القران, sciences of the Quran, Hadith and Sunnah, Seerah, Akhlaq, manners, and relating all of that to our life in the West and how to cope with challenges going on. So that's a mentorship class. There is one for the sisters every Wednesday between 12:30 and 1:30, and there is one for the brothers between Maghrib and Isha every Wednesday, and in the winter times after Isha. And this class is by invitation only. I mean, it is only for a group that they spend 2 years in this program, and once they finish, another group selected and come. And they are required to do certain activities, write papers, do some projects in the community, and it's expected from them after they finish to volunteer in the community and teach and use whatever skills that they got from the program and whatever information they can build on it and benefit the community, be it being with seniors or being with children, mentoring some youth, boys or girls, for brothers, for sisters. So basically it is a program, those two programs, is to train the trainers. Do you understand? So basically those who are attending this from this program online or on site, it is a requirement for their program. But we just decided to open it for the community, whoever wanted to attend. The reason I didn't want to do it in the musalla or in the masjid, but for some logistics we decided to do it today. But this class is by registration only also. So if we don't have enough people to come in the masjid, inshallah, we're going to do it in the class that as we do in the school, inshallah, the second floor, every Wednesday between Maghrib and Isha until the winter time comes. Right? So if next week we decide to go there, I don't want any confusion. But today is kind of an exception for that. And there will be accommodation for brothers and sisters to attend. So this way keeps the formality of the class, keeps the efficiency of the class and the benefit. So that's number one. Number two, what this class is not. I always like to do that. This class is not another class that you sit and listen passively and just another class and gone. Okay. So if this is the case, you can listen to the recordings later. It will be, a class will be like an in-depth, and there will be some concepts and some things like as a college level class. So it is not a class which is simplified for community. That's intentional, but it is more of like a college level class. Okay. Also, this class is not to go into controversy and all of that, but this class is more to study tafsir analytically. Analytically means we're going to discuss the linguistic aspect, we're going to discuss fiqhi aspect, we're going to discuss some of the hadith aspect in it, some of relating it to our lives now and all of that, as you will see, right? So this is what class is not. What is expected from this class is that once you learn Surah An-Nur, you know that this is one of the surahs that help build the community. and you will see some of the concepts there that we're missing, or we are doing it wrong, or we need to improve on. Okay, so this Surah An-Nur here is one of the, it's actually light, yani. It gives you light into your life, into your relationship, spousal relationship, marital relationship, relationship with children, relationship with other members of the community, when it is hardship time, when it is easy time, how to talk about people, how to assume good about others. This is this surah. There are surahs like that in the Quran, like Surah Al-Hujurat, Surah Luqman, Surah Al-Nisa, Surah An-Nur. Those are community builders. Okay, if you study them in depth, you find like from them comes lots of golden lessons to build a community, whether it is a family or it is a larger community of Muslims in Houston or in North Houston or in Texas or in the United States or the Ummah of Muslims. It's Quran, the book of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Also, this class, if anybody wants to be certified in this surah, have an ijaza in this surah, like you study the tafsir in this surah analytically and you are able to teach it to someone or make a course out of it or make a presentation out of it, you need that certification, then you will be expected to write a paper about it and make a test, take a test. If you wanted to do that, then we'll give you a certificate, inshallah, that you studied this surah professionally, and we'll give you an ijazah in it, inshallah. Okay? So those are things I wanted to mention. Also, in the class we talked about what ulum al-Quran is, the sciences of Quran, the sciences. Those are the foundations and the instructions and the rules by which we understand Quran. When you say understand Quran, is not understand the meaning of the words. That is one aspect only. But understand the background, understand the denotation of the word, what is the word literally means, connotation of the word, what is the meaning behind it, and the implications of the word as well. So you have like, this is what the word Nur means. Nur means light. That's the denotation of the word. Connotation of the word means, light of knowledge, light of Islam, light of Iman, versus the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of disbelief, the darkness of polytheism. No? That's a connotation, a meaning which is not direct. Like right away when you say light, you look up, light, okay? But when we give it context, now what is the implication of it? What do you do when light is there? You can see things, people cannot hide, people can, implications of what the light will bring to our life. So what is the knowledge should bring to our life? What is this specific teaching in this surah should bring to my life? Yani should bring to my life. When Allah talk about adultery and fornication and all of that, how does this relate to us here in the 21st century, in the September of 2024 in Houston, living here with our kids in the public school, with you having co-workers and exposed to the fitna and all of that, what does that ayah exemplify? What does this ayah manifest to you as a hukum of Allah Azza wa Jal? It is not do's and versus don'ts. It is just more than that. It's more than that. Now understand what light is. This is denotation, connotation, and then implications and applications of the surah, of the verse. So we studied ulum al-Quran, in general, we understand what ulum al-Quran. So ulum al-Quran tells us the background of the surah, when this ayat was revealed, the reason of the revelation, if there is a ruling in that ayah, if there is a hadith supporting that verse, if there is a situation that later the companions reflected on, or the tabi'een reflected on, or one of the ulama quoted that surah in a certain situation that happened later. All of these things that we're going to be studying, right? But that is what this class is about. That's why I said it's not just one of another lecture, like feel good kind of lecture and now understand. It is more of a study. Understand what? Yeah. We will do that. What is an analytical tafsir? Analysis. I give you an example, then we'll apply. Jazakallah khair. When you say that, how many students we have now in this class? About 10 brothers, maybe 2 sisters, 3 sisters. Those are statistics, right? Statistics. And this is like numbers. What are you going to do with this number? Now you're going to analyze them. That's what we call statistics. Those are the result of analysis. So we're going to analyze those numbers, right? We're going to come and say, from age perspective, what is the age group? Those 10, 15 people. Do we have elders more or younger more? And what are the indications of that? Why the younger people there? Why are the older people there? Yeah? What brought them? How can I bring more? How can I elaborate on this? How can I do that? What is the reason that people, come in the beginning and then they later on they drop? What is that? So this is more of analysis. Yeah. So when you say analytical tafsir, it means the tafsir of the beyond just the little, the meaning, the direct meaning. We start with the linguistic aspect. We say this surah, meaning, such and such. Allah Azza wa Jal revealed this surah at that time. This surah is Madani. This surah is how many verses? Information. Like, ID. Who are you? I am such and such. How many, how old am I? My birthday, the ID number, what color eyes, donor or not. That information. So that's the first part of the analytical tafsir. Give the general information of the surah. Okay? Then you come and say, what are the themes of the surah? Which we'll cover in a bit. What is the main themes of this surah? And by the end of this surah, what do you get? Like, what are you going to be studying? You just don't jump in there and you don't know. So this surah is speaking general about that. And then there are subcategories and all of that. That's also part of the analytical tafsir. So general information, then the theme of the surah, right? Then you come and say when the surah was revealed, where it was revealed, what were the circumstances around it. We're still general about the surah. Then you go specific now, okay? You go step by step. You say from verse number 1 to verse number 20, it is covering such a subject, okay? And from verse 21 to verse 31, it is covering that subject. So now you're going to go to the sequence of the surah. Are you following with me? I don't want to lose you, huh? I want to make it as interesting as possible here. Okay, so sequence of the surah. From entering the door until you're exiting from the other side. What did you see around you? Oh, there were 2 doors and 2 rooms, and there was a hall, and the hall has, like I'm walking you through the tour. Look at this and this section and this section and this section and this section until you exit from the other door. We go to surah like that. This is different from the first one. What are the themes? When I went about the themes, it's different. Now I'm going more specific now. So those verses, they are a unit that handling such and such. What is the next step? The next step, we say, what are the aspects of these things? So the aspect of it is ayat relating to each other in that way, right? And this ayat leading to the next ayah like this, right? And you go also with that. And then after that, you go verse by verse. So you say verse by verse. The word suratun, what does that mean? Anzalnaha, what is the tanzeel? وفرضناها, what does the fard means? Other qira'ah is وفرضناها, when there's a different qira'ah and all of that. We make the analysis of this. What is the meaning added? So now we're going to go to the linguistic aspect of it. Because I'm explaining it in English, we're going to avoid the syntax and the i'rab and the grammatical positions and the declensions and all the way. So there's no point in it when you're speaking in English. In Arabic, it does make a big, huge difference. Okay? Like when you say هذا مبتدأ وهذا حال وهذا تمييز وهذا نعت وهذا بدل وthis وذات, the structure is different. So you understand on a different level, basically. Right? We're not going to get into that, but that's part of the analytical tafsir. Also, you come and talk about the rhetorical aspect of it, البلاغة of that. Look at this style. Allah Azza wa Jal used that word here, but did not use it in that other ayah, you know. In this here, it's because of such and such. Look at the fa here means this, but thumma here means that, but wa here means like that. That's what we call it balagha, you know. That how it is presented. Why in here Allah Azza wa Jal say this, but in another surah Allah Azza wa Jal used a different order. مفهوم؟ And Allah does not do things haphazard like that. It has to be a point. هذه another linguistic aspect of the balagha of the Quran. That is the miraculous aspect of it. The miraculous linguistic aspect of the Quran. Once we're done with that, then you come and say if there is a story in it, you mention the story, right? The historical aspect of it, you mention. The ayat of Surah, this ayah does not have any historical aspect. It has more of rules. So we talk about rules. Has a historical aspect. Like Hadithat al-Ifk, for example. There are 10 ayat about the story of Aisha radiallahu anha, and the accusation that happened by the munafiqeen. So we're going to mention that. Okay, talking about it. And all the implications of it and what happened and the repercussions of those who did what. Okay? And then the rules from fiqh. If that is repeated again, if somebody accused someone with that, what happens now? Okay? And then we come at the end and say, what do we benefit from it as Muslims? What is an honor? What is the level or the sanctity of a Muslim? Like how far we should protect it? How far you should be aware? How cautious you should be before you talk? Huh? So these are the things that we benefit. Then we move to the next section. Now understand what analytical tafsir. It's kind of, for a lay person, it's very boring. For the lay person, it's very detailed. It is too much. You don't need that. For a lay person, actually, you don't need that. I wouldn't explain it like that. We'll just give a khatira. You know khatira? Like a reflection. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you cover 10, 15 ayat, and khalas. But sometimes you can stay for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours in one ayah. You're going here and there and all of that. So this over time, it gives you another level of comprehending the Quran. When the Quran is recited, all these meanings comes in your head. And when a similar verse is recited, then you understand. Whenever the word Nur comes in the Quran, it gives you that same kind of feeling that you are anchored with when you are reciting this or studying this surah. Right? Let's get some information about the surah. Okay. Surah An-Nur, Surah Madaniyah, and it's 64 ayahs. What do we mean by Surah Madaniyah? Surah Madani, you know Medina, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Wa Makki, يعني Makki, Makkah. But is it really relating to place? That is one opinion of scholars. Said, whatever revealed in Mecca, we call it Makki, regardless of the chronological order. Because the Prophet was in Mecca, went to Medina, and then came back to Mecca, Fath Mecca, right? And he came also for Umrah, Umrah al-Qada. He came for Hudaybiyah, and he returned back. He was not in Medina at that time, closer to Mecca, vicinity of Mecca. And there was some revelation coming to him. Surah al-Fatih, for example, some revelation. If we're going to go by the place, we're going to say all the Quran revealed to the Prophet ﷺ in Mecca or its surrounding is called what? Mecca. And anything in Medina or its surrounding will be called what? Medina. Then there is a challenge for that. What about the Quran was revealed while in Tabuk? It's not in Mecca or Medina. Or what is Lطائف? What is this going to be called? For the place here is not going to hold for us. Okay? If we say by the time, which is the stronger opinion of the two, say that whatever Makki is before the migration of the Prophet ﷺ, regardless of where it was revealed. So Makki here is a chronological period. It's a time. It is not a place. Mecca is a place. It's a city called what? Mecca. But when we say Makki revelation, revelation is coming from heaven. It is not a mountain in Mecca. You call Makki mountain. Makki mountain has to be in Mecca. Right? إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي بمكة. الكعبة is Makki. خلاص, we understand that is relating to a place. But the revelation is coming from where originally? Coming to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's an entity separate from Mecca or Medina or the earth or the clouds, separate now. So now if we want to describe it, how are we going to describe it? By place or by time or by position or by what? You get the idea now what Mecca and Madani, right? I told you, analytical tafsir, you dive. Every word now is going to be like, not like that, you know, we have to go. So now Mecca is anything before the migration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whether he was in a Lطائف or this mountain or in Hira or in Arafat or here or there or anywhere. Even hypothetically speaking, if he went to Medina or he traveled somewhere out of Mecca closer to Medina, it's still going to be called what? As a period, not as a relating to a place. Okay? And that solves lots of problems. Yet, the same challenge will become. And anything after migration becomes what? Madani. Yani, if Rasulullah ﷺ was in Fath Mecca on the 8th year of Hijrah, while he is in the middle of Mecca, and receive a Quran ayah, which happened, yani, it will be called what? Madani, not Mecca. Make sense to you? But then there will be a challenge for that. The challenge for that is, what about the ayat also revealed different? What about the ayat revealed in Isra al-Mi'raj? Then what? That is why in Ulum al-Quran you will find that there are other divisions. They will say what was revealed in the winter, what was revealed in the summer, what was revealed in the day, what was revealed what was revealed on earth, and what was revealed in heavens. What was revealed in when Rasulullah in bed, what was revealed in for there are other divisions, yeah. But always we care about Mecca and Madani as a point of reference. Make sense? Point of what? Reference. يعني that's for Surah Hadi, when we say it is a Madani Surah, now we understand what Madani Surah means. With the general information, it is revealed after the migration of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, what about the number of the ayah? 64 ayah. 64 ayah. Some of the surahs you will find, okay, they say هذه السورة 140 ayahs according to the Kufi count. But it is 143 ayah according to the Madani count, 146 ayah according to the Shami count, 139 ayah according to the Basri count. What does that mean? You see, it's a little bit confusing. For some, oh, means there are ayat, more ayat? Where are those ayat? Or less ayat? What did you take out? Nothing. We did not take any ayah out. We did not put any ayah in. It is where you stop. But as simple as that. But what is considered an ayah? If Rasulullah said it's an ayah, it's an ayah. If the Sahaba identified it as an ayah, it's an ayah. But if there is an issue of difference here, then there are different mazhab in it. But the Quran is the same, the ayat is the same, I mean the number of words is the same, nothing changes. Example, Surah Al-Fatiha. How many ayahs Surah Al-Fatiha? By consensus. 7. By consensus. Every single scholar from Sahaba until our time, Surah Al-Fatiha is called the Sab' al-Mathani. Allah said 7 ayat. That has to be what? 7 ayat. But where is the difference? Where the ayah starts and finishes. But it is 7 ayat. So some of the scholars said Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is ayah number 1. Only Al-Fatiha, right? In the beginning. So Bismillah ar-Rahim comes in the beginning of every surah except Surah Al-Tawbah. And it is embedded in the middle of the surah, Surah Al-Naml. And it has 2 Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. One in the beginning and one in the surah. إِنَّهُ مِن سُلَيْمَانَ وَإِنَّهُ Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman is mentioned twice in Surah Al-Naml, and it is not mentioned in Surah Al-Tawbah, but the rest of the surahs start with what? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The agreement of the scholars that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, it is not part of any surah. They differed in what? Surah Al-Fatiha. Is it part of Surah Al-Fatiha or not? If it is part of Surah Al-Fatiha, then we all agree Surah Al-Fatiha, how many ayahs? 7. So ayah number 1 is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim wa lad-dallin. Ayah number 7. But for those who say even Al-Fatiha, Bismillah is not part of it, how are they going to come up with 7 ayahs now? They are not going to add an ayah. So you said Bismillah ar-Rahim is not ayah number 1. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen is ayah number 1. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim 2. Malik Yawm al-Din إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. That's an ayah. Then غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين is ayah number 7. You see where the numbering is different? That's exactly what it is. Sometimes the ayah is defined as an end of an ayah, sometimes it is not defined as an end of an ayah, so the numbering will say, oh, it is 160, it's 130, it is 145, it is 159, it is 165. I don't want that to be confusing you. Okay? Right. Now. The Quran, in the Quran, Surah Al-Hijr, end of Surah Al-Hijr. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِّنَ الْمَثَانِ وَالْقُرْآنَ الْعَظِيمِ. We give you the most repeated 7 verses, and then the Quran. So Surah Al-Fatiha, then the hadith of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said Surah Al-Fatiha هي السبع المثاني والقرآن العظيم الذي أوتيته. So Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said سبع المثاني Allah talk about is Surah Al-Fatiha. So Quran and the hadith both agreed. So that's why I said by consensus. And nobody can come and say Fatiha has not 7 ayahs. Nobody can. So this is the highest level of of information. Yeah. It's called Surah An-Nur. طبعا naming the surahs most of the time it is توقيفي يعني by Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم or by the Sahaba, right? That they agreed on. يعني this is the name of the Surah An-Nur. And it gives light to our social life, to our individual life. It gives us the light to know the etiquette and what Allah honored us with. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah gave you takreem based on what? Based on akhlaq. Based on what? Akhlaq. That's what akhlaq means, manners, code of conduct, behavior. That is what separates us from animals. That's what separates us from shayateen. That's what gets us closer to the angels. Akhlaq. The akhlaq مع Allah. The akhlaq with yourself. When you are alone with somebody. Akhlaq when you are acting. When you are reacting. When you are interacting. Akhlaq. But that's what separates. So this surah is Surah An-Nur, giving light on those. Pay attention. Watch. When you are alone, Allah is watching. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. I cannot. You understand? So this surah also one of the indications of that name. Also, it shows us that the rules mentioned in the surah, in particular, and Quran in general, it is like light for you to know what to do, how to do, when to do, where to do. What are, most of the time, especially younger ones, younger kids or teenagers, they look at rules as obligations only. Oh, I gotta do that, or it's chores, or like this. Okay? But an elder or an adult look at it from a different perspective. See? And now I'm in my 50s. When I put the vegetable in front of me on the kitchen counter, to make salad or to cook a dish, it is more of a big deal. يعني. It is a ritual. I'm serious. يعني, it is not like, and I'm talking about myself, the way I look at it now is different from when my mom used to ask me to help her when I was 16-year-old. When I was 16-year-old, I look at it as what? Oh man, I want to play with my friends. Come on, you can do that. You see? So looking at it as what? A task, chores, like an assignment. And this is why I should do all this process to eat. I just go buy it. You see the approach itself? So there is no light in this. But when you see there is a process and you find yourself in it, like, I am the one who cut. I am the one who washed these vegetables, right? I am the one who aligned the things to. So when I am eating, it is not just something that I eat and I move on. It is more about how important I am to myself, how important my health is to me. You understand? How important for me to achieve something, how important for me to be responsible. All of this is about doing salad, yani. Just to give you something on the side and a little bit of fun, yani. 2 years ago, not 2 years ago, at the Corona time, more than 2 years ago. When was it? 4 years ago? Huh? Yeah, the last year of the Corona. Too much time in your hand and you're staying home and all that. I said, I'm going to take a culinary course online. I decided to take a culinary course online. And I go to master class. There's something called master class. I signed up and I took the class. يعني كده. Something different. But what I learned there, which was more important to me than the culinary art itself, was the approach. How this guy, this chef, I don't want to mention his name to make advertisement for him, whatever, but he's top. Yeah. What it meant to him to cook. I learned from that what it should mean to me to be a sheikh. You see the light when we're talking about Surah An-Nur. Whatever you learn, you're going to apply to yourself. Forget about the culinary thing, forget about that. My mom cooks better than him. But what I'm saying is how he approached it. How he approached it. It's everything for him is like clockwork. If something like not there, this is not good. All right? So, he said the most important thing, it is like your stage. The counter. How to arrange your tools. How to arrange your kitchen. شوف يا أخي عجيب. I was thinking cooking is bringing a pan, putting an egg, ويلا كل. يلا eat. Putting a sandwich, toast and eat. That's what But he said, oh, no. You start in the kitchen, you have to be comfortable. Your hands have to be clean. You cannot be sick. You cannot be sneezing. Oh my God, is that important? And everybody now, mashallah, open the book of Tafsir and start a halqa. And this guy going to cook and he make all this arrangement. You see how I'm relating to it. I said, A whole hour he did not talk about cooking. A whole hour is talking about what does it mean. How important it is to feed someone. How important it is to make this something meaningful. All right? Then he said how you arrange your knives, how arrange things, how everything should be close to you so you can use it. How important these things to you. Right? Then after that, he said how you choose your vegetables, how you choose your items, how you handle things. Then after that comes the process. What goes first, what goes second. How to decide what kind of fire it is. You do not just go there and then you run out of gas. You see the details? You have to know that you have the tools. You have what is the backup plan? What is this? What is that? So subhanallah, I learned a lot from that, and I said, wow. Imagine if every mechanic does that, if every teacher prepare like that, if every sheikh prepare like that, if every musalli as Muslim prepare for salah like that. Then I started relating how Allah Azza wa Jal said, when you are about to salah, you do this. Or Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, come to the salah when you are in that state. When you have to, everything start making sense. But when you see here the word Surah An-Nur, you know that rules are there as a form of light to show you how to navigate in this life, how to navigate in this religion, how to navigate as a human being, how to navigate as a man, as a woman, as a teacher, as an elder, as an employer, as an employee. All the ahkam are nur. They are not just obligations for you. You should be happy actually that Allah gave you a roadmap. Allah gave you a manual. Allah told you, you gotta do it like that. You should be thankful. Thank you, Ya Allah, that you make fard for salah for me clear to follow. So it is not something that I am upset with. You see the hikmah here? I'm enjoying this because I'm happy that Allah tell me that you need to worship me and here is how. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, just imitate me. You don't have to be creative. Imitate me. And everything will be fine. صلوا كما رأيتموني أصلي. خذوا عني مناسككم. والله amazing religion يا أخي. Amazing deen. I don't have to ask people only for some details. But يعني Sheikh, I want to learn Salah like the Prophet ﷺ prayed. You do not come and tell me, Sheikh, tell me how to pray and I will follow you. No. When you are asking me because you want to know what? How Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did it. It is not this guy here. This guy means nothing if I do not deliver that to you. If I don't tell you what Allah wants from you and how Rasulullah did it, I have no value. I have no value. That is the beauty of our deen. That everybody feels that you as a Muslim have an entitlement. You are entitled to the right information. You are entitled to learn what Allah wants. You are entitled to learn how Rasulullah ﷺ did. It is very, very unfortunate when you hear people, sometimes even leaders of organizations, say nobody is entitled to anything. No, we are entitled. We are entitled. I heard it with my ears. And somebody said, oh, no entitlement. What do you mean no entitlement? No, I am entitled to the truth. I'm entitled to dignity. I'm entitled to be respected. Aren't you entitled to be respected? Yes or no? I'm entitled not to be lied to. I'm entitled to be honored. I'm entitled to justice. I'm entitled to lots of things. We are an entitled creature. I'm entitled to service. Okay? I'm entitled. I'm entitled to respect when I'm in my house. When I'm a husband, I'm entitled to be dealt with as a husband. When you are a wife, you are entitled to be dealt with as a wife. When you are a child, you are entitled to be raised properly. And we go on and on. So never hear this and say, oh no, entitlement is a bad thing. That when you are entitled to bad things, that's bad. You hear that, oh, these people have a sense of entitlement. يعني إيه بقى a sense of entitlement? Who said entitlement is a bad thing? I am entitled. When you enter my store, you are entitled to find the product. You are entitled to be dealt with respect. You are entitled to be helped. You are entitled to, give in your product when you paid your money. You are entitled to return it if it is not good. كل هذا entitlement يعني. From A to Z, we are entitled. Allah gave us rizq and Allah entitled us to rizq. But when you think you are better than others, that is a wrong entitlement. Huh? When you feel that you are better than others, I am entitled because of my color or because of this, that's not good. But the word entitlement, you are entitled. But sometimes people kind of just throw things like that, and people, because it sounds so good or the person is kind of important, you take it as truth. فسورة يعني أحكام An-Nur. When we study Surah An-Nur, now we understand what Nur is. Every ayah of it has light. Even the ayah has adhab in it. If the ayah is talking about punishment, where is the light in that, Sheikh? Didn't it warn you? Did this ayah act as a warning for you? Yes? So you are not going to do that same thing, so you suffer the same result. Is this light or not? It showed you or not? Yani when you have a flashlight in your hand, okay? It shows you, oh, that is what I was looking for. That is positive. Or it shows you a ditch, you are about to fall. Yes? So light, it does not mean only showing good stuff. No, light also showing you what? Bad things to avoid. But light is when Allah prohibits something for you, is light. When Allah enjoins something on you or obligates something in you, it is light. With the biggest ayah, which is the culmination of this surah, is ayat An-Nur. Allahu nuru as-samawati wal-ard. The example of the light of Allah. See, ahkam before and ahkam what? After. And in the middle, Allah says Allah is the light. So the ahkam of Allah is the light coming from the light. So the source, and the name of Allah is An-Nur. The name of Allah is An-Nur. Okay. This surah, does it relate to the surah before it? There is a science in علوم القرآن, it's called علم المناسبات. يعني relationship between surahs, and the relationship between verses, and the relationship between subject matters, and the relationship between ayat, and the relationship between the ending of the ayat to the ayat. Science by itself, like, you can study 5-6 years in it, that by itself only. Okay? So, يعني, why this ayah, Allah finished, Wallahu Sami'un Alim. And why the other one, Wallahu Sami'un Basir. Why the other one, Wallahu Alimun Hakim. Why the other one, Latifun Khabir. Why? See, there's munasaba, يعني, what is the relationship? Why this ending in this verse? Now, that's one way, one application. يعني. Another application. Why this ayah, which is a completely different topic, in this specific position, in a complete context of talaq, مثلا. Allah talking about talaq, this, talaq that, custody, children, support, child support, spousal support, all of that. And in the middle, Allah talk about the salah. About what? In the middle? What is that? Surah al-Talaq. What is the surah called? Talaq. Means expectation, your expectation. The surah is talking about what? Divorce, generally. But this is the surah that a lot of tawakkul, a lot of taqwa, a lot of patience in it. And then, after, this is in the middle of the ayat of talaq. Allah said, have tawakkul. Allah will give you a lot of rizq. Rizq. You talk about rizq when a person gets married. You say, I'm starting my life, I need rizq. But the person is divorcing, is breaking. And Allah talking about, Allah will give you lots of rizq. You see that? And then after the talaq finished, Allah talk about the nations before who disobeyed Allah, so Allah destroyed them. Now, the relationship between these subjects. There. Of course, talaq, you are destroying family. So Allah said you have to have tawakkul, you have to have taqwa. Means you do not do that except if it is really what is needed. Right? And if you are not just on a family level, means the community will be unjust, then the punishment of Allah will come like it came to the nations before. Now it makes sense. Right? Now, in the middle of talaq in Surah Al-Baqarah comes the ayah of salah. Means those who observe the salawat and they get benefit of the salah, salah tanha anil fahsha wal munkar, salah will not make them unjust when they are dealing with this. So salah is actually needed in the middle here. And salah is not separate. It's not separate from this situation here, which everybody hates everybody, everybody's fighting everybody, everybody's defaming everybody, right? Fighting, court, divorce, he said, she said, all of that. I said that if you observe your salah on time, their expectation here of a certain type of people who act in a certain type of way. Okay? So now we understand that that's also a way to relate. Okay. The beginning of the surah was the end of the surah. The beginning of the surah, the end of the surah. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Starting with what? Success of who? Believers. And at the end, وَقُلْ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ وَارْحَمْ وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. You cannot have success except if Allah forgive you and have rahmah on you. You see? And whatever in between is, this is what you want, this is what you achieve. You cannot achieve it without, and the surah shows you how. Now, how this surah relate to this surah? So Surah An-Nur comes after Surah Al-Mu'minun. The one I just said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah started Surah Al-Mu'minun with what? Truly they are successful. Who did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all ibadat and mu'amalat. Yes? And then forgiveness and mercy of Allah is what is expected. Then Surah An-Nur comes as a practical example of that. As a practical example. Now you see how the surah is relating to the surah before it in the order of the Mus'haf. So Allah Azza wa Jal also said one characteristic of the believers. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. Those who hold their chastity, those who are responsible, their private parts are not used. Then Surah An-Nur talk about fornication and adultery, the violation of that. You see how the surahs, so you can see why the surah is abruptly speaking about that. سورة أنزلناها وفرضناها وأنزلنا فيها آيات بينات لعلكم تذكرون الزانية والزاني. Because you separated the surah as a unit separate from the rest of the Quran. But if you look to the Quran as like with far, يعني you go away far كده and look at the Quran, there is no abrupting in anything. This surah coming, this surah, وهذه الأنفال وهذه التوبة والمؤمنون وهذه النور يا سلام. This talking about marriage, this talking about adultery, this talking about community, this talking about جماعة. الصلاة here, everything is arranged in such a neat way. And that's one of the secrets why you have to finish Quran in a short time. Don't take a long time. So you get that. See, you go around, circle, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. So you are seeing the Quran like that. Quran comes in your head as one unit, but it has different sections. But when you say Surah An-Nur, man, is a very tough surah. Subhanallah, Allah starts with zina, like zina. Yeah, if you look at Surah An-Nur as a separate unit, yeah, it is like that. Like Surah At-Tawbah, if you look at it, براءة من الله ورسوله, right from the start. Allah is associated. But if you're reading Al-Anfal followed by Tawbah, or Tawbah followed by Yunus, it's different now. يعني this punishment and all that in the middle of surahs that have lots of rahmah, you know, or other things. I hope you understand the munasabah يعني. Now, also in the Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah gave characteristics in general, but in Surah Al-Mu'minun. Surah An-Nur, Allah gave characteristics in particular. You know, the believers in Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah speaks in general how the members of a community look like. General, huh? الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون. They do not involve in bad speech. But in Surah An-Nur, Allah shows bad speech what it does. Right? إن الذين جاءوا بالإفك عصبة منكم. 10 ayahs talking about اللغو هذا. And those who are doing it and attacking others, a manifestation and detail. You see now when you read Mu'minun and the Nur, it's big unit now. Makes sense, right? So that's why, as I said, you do not read one surah and expect, you will understand, you will get something, but limited. Imagine now if you read the Quran and then you go back, I read the Quran and then you go back, and you read the Quran and you go back. Every time you do, you see amazing stuff. Every single time, I guarantee you, I can make oath on it. Mustahil, impossible. Somebody finish Quran every 10 days or every week and they get exactly the same lessons every time. Mustahil, impossible. They're going to get something new every single time for the rest of their life. أنا بقول لك, I tell you, every single time you're going to, Surah Al-Fatiha is going to send you something. Surah Al-Baqarah is going to send you something. So, what? When you are reading Surah An-Nur, you remember an ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. You understand it because you are reading Surah Al-Furqan. Because you are reading Surah Al-Shu'ara, you understand Surah Al-A'raf. What? Allah talk about Adam here, but talk about, oh, like that. After 20 years, you've been reciting it. And you understand it like that now. And then when you open the books and you find something, you say, Wallahi, subhanallah, I read Ibn Kathir like 6-7 times. Where was this hid? It is like in plain sight in front of you. But you read it. You understood it in a limited manner. Now because you did lots of things, you are older, you are married, you have children, your children grown, your mind is mature. So now you can relate in a different way. فهمتم يا اخوانا سر القرآن؟ Surah Al-Fatiha is not the same every single time you recite it. You are a different person, different molecules, different cells, different you. And it gives you its nur, subhanallah. فهذه ايه؟ سورة النور. Also في سورة المؤمنون, in the beginning of the surah, Allah mentioned that He created the human being from nutfa wa alaqa, all of that, for a reason. Okay? Then في سورة النور, Allah gave us the tashri'. Tashri' means do's and don'ts in details. that means Allah did not create you haphazard. There is a sharia to follow. And here's the example. You see how they are relating to each other? Same thing. Subhanallah, this surah has a fadli, beauty. You live with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whatever your hardship is, I want you to imagine when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was attacked in his honor like this. And there is no wahy telling him what is the situation. And he is the Prophet and Messenger of Allah, the head of the state. And that's his wife. He's now the human being. She's a human being. Well, how he can handle this? You see the level of stress? It's hard. It's not simple. How he leads the salah, how he gives the khutbah, to the point that he comes on the minbar and he said, who can help me with those who attacked me in my honor? I don't know what to do. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine sitting in front of the Prophet and he's like telling you, I'm hurt. I don't know what to do. Like, that's why Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, if it is a certain person who will kill him, will destroy him right now. And then the human aspect comes, oh, you're saying this because you know he's from our tribe, and they start fighting with each other. Adding it, adding to it. And how did Rasulullah feel at that time? It tears you apart. Even after almost 1500 years, it kind of like, it rips your heart. Can you imagine this? How did he sleep, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for all these days? And going inside his house, how did he eat? How did he pray? How did he, little tiny thing for us, a job or something like that, it messes up your life. Yeah? Somebody tell you a word or anything like that in the masjid, and you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to attack. But imagine An-Nabi al-Kareem, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the dearest to Allah, the dearest human being to Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jal did not give him the wahi to show him what is the truth. See how big is the test now? But that is also, this surah gives you that feeling that you are not alone. Whatever your hardship, look how Rasulullah went through this hardship. How the innocence of Aisha came. Also you remember, how did Rasulullah feel at that time? Alhamdulillah, thanking Allah Azza wa Jal. Ya Aisha, Allah give you innocence from above 7 heavens. And how she reacted. Not the husband and wife of today. She said, even you doubted me, how can I come back to you? Huh? Oh, you did not defend me, and all of that. La. She said, I thank Allah Azza wa Jal. I'm not going to thank you, but I'll thank Allah Azza wa Jal. But still she loves him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the test, and they got the lesson, they got over it, and it is making them stronger. That is what a husband and wife should do. I tell people all the time, you are married, but you are not the marriage. The marriage is the institution, is the relationship that you two make it continue. But you are not the marriage. You are married. You are what? Married. So you should always care about that institution continuing and being built, and you built on it and make it stronger for all the winds and hurricanes and all of that, not to attack it. And you add more and more to the institution, right? So even when we get weaker, even when we have problems, we have a stronger what? Shelter. We have a stronger institution that we go to. It is bigger than us. It keeps us grounded. The problem is when people think they are the marriage. We are the ones who are defining this relationship. So whenever they disagree, everybody walks away, and the relationship, the institution collapses. It's all in here, perception. So between Rasulullah ﷺ and his wives, that's an institution of marriage. Regardless what is the misunderstanding, what is the situation, what is the problem, we need to come out of it stronger. And when talaq happens, when that institution cannot survive. It's not about how I feel or how she feels. It is that. Surah An-Nur, there is some hadith, and most of the hadith about the bounties of surahs and the status of surahs, they are weak, by the way. most of the hadith saying this surah has this level, if you read this surah, this happens, da, da, da. Most of the surahs, not all, unless there is a very authentic hadith, as Rasulullah ﷺ said, whoever recites Surah Al-Baqarah, this is what happens. Khalas. Right? We understand that. Whoever recites this surah, Tabaraka alladhi biyadihi al-mulk, Allah saves you from azab al-qabr. That's a clear-cut hadith. But there are, in the fadail of the surah, every single surah, there is a narration about it. It did not work like that. It doesn't work like that. There is some saying that there is a narration that says that teach your men Surah Al-Ma'idah and teach your women Surah An-Nur. A good advice يعني. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, and it's also narrated, alhamdulillah, narrated from Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha, alhamdulillah, adikum Allah, that Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab used to send to his amirs in different amsar, in different cities. Sayyidah Aisha also used to advise that she said, learn, and he said and she said, Umar wa Aisha, تعلموا سورة النساء والأحزاب والنور. Learn Surah Al-Nisa, learn Surah Al-Ahzab, learn Surah An-Nur. It has lots of teachings. Those three surahs, by the way, they have a lot of teaching about marriage and the divorce and the hypocrites and the women and the men and the salah and the wudu and the tayammum, So these surahs have a lot of, lessons for it. Right. What is the themes of this surah? The surah is composed of what topics? Like covered what topics? Let's say the topics. Surah An-Nur. When I ask you, what are the topics of Surah An-Nur? I need you to know that. What are the topics of Surah Al-Baqarah? That's a bit bigger one. But you can summarize. Okay? And I want you to do that. Have a paper and a pencil or your notes and read. And make your own. And then see at the end, when you read in the book, how it is done. And then summarize. Wallahi, this will help your brain to be structured when it comes to the Quran. So Surah An-Nur, talking about أحكام of Usra, أحكام of the family, ruling of the family. Why we talk about rules of the family? To strengthen the family, to know the foundation of a family, the pillars of the family, the ceiling of a family, the furniture, as if a family is a building. Yani. It needs foundation, needs pillars, needs a roof, needs walls, windows, doors, plumbing, everything. So if we're going to take the house for men. And that's a drill I teach in my coaching classes. I tell people like, what do you like in this world? I said, I like trees. And someone said, I like buildings. I asked my people I coach. And they said, I like buildings. I like cars. I'm just saying, whatever you like. Something that you like all the time. Most of the time it's in your head, whenever it attracts you. I said, whatever case you are talking about, you're going to use that model. Meaning what? If you want to study the subject of Salah. Salah يعني. طبعا Salah here is part belief, part spiritual يعني, between you and Allah Azza wa Jal, and part worship, physical. Certain things you do, certain things you read. So part physical and part conceptual. Part of it is like, what does Salah represent for you? Now you want to understand everything about Salah. You told me that you like houses, buildings. What a building is in your head. And Muhammad, when you think about it, you are an engineer, what do you think about a building? Like what comes in your head when we talk about a building? This is a building here, right? Like how you perceive a building. The structure. Foundation. Floors. And a roof. So you're going from bottom up now. Correct? You see what he did? He said the structure, that is the overarching. Every building is what? A structure. So Salah should be what? A structure. And the building has to have what? What is the foundation of Salah? Okay? And then he said pillars and roof. So what is that? Right? Then everything in the building, you're going to have it as a part of what? Salah. So whenever you think about the concept of Salah, Build it in your head like a building. Somebody comes and says, it's a tree. Tell him the tree starts from what in the bottom? Root. So what is the root of the salah? What is the stem? What the leaf represent? Okay, what the branches represent? What is the fruit represent? Is it a shade tree or a fruit tree? If it is a shade tree, so what is the shade that comes out from salah? If it's a fruit tree, what is the fruit that comes out from salah? But now when you have the fruit, what are you going to do with the fruit? What are you going to do with the fruit? Eat it and throw the seed? Or take the seed and plant it and mix another tree? مثلا يعني. It's like someone come and say, okay, when people come to me sometimes for mediation or for counseling or something like that, I bring an orange, or in front. And I said, okay, you guys fighting with each other, husband and wife. I said, yeah. I said, okay, here is an orange. How are you going to share it? Abu Siddiq, how are you going to share the orange? Cut, half you, half your wife. صح كده? That's everybody will do that. Is this the only way to share? You think that this is equal, right? What if I don't want the half of the orange? How about you take the flesh, I take the peel to make a cake? So for me, peel is more important, yes? Correct? What if I want the seeds and I plant a tree? I'm not looking for orange now. I'm looking for 100 orange in 10 years. See? How about I want to make a juice, but you want to make... So now we can go on and on and on. فهمتم يا اخوانا الidea? You understand the idea here. So this structure is very important when you think. And when you have a structure, you start thinking about things like this orange thing. When you have a structure first, you can, but you don't digress. You don't get lost. You have a concept. This is what salah does. Now, I'm a father. How does salah will relate to me, the structure I have as a building or as a tree, when I'm teaching my kids salah? It is not necessarily cut and paste, cut and dry, like that. No, you have to think like this orange thing. What do they need? How they can, are they people who want the seed, or people who want the juice, or people, what is interesting them? Then I can present it to them that way. No. The surah is talking about family and the things that can destroy a family. Things can destroy a community. Please mute yourself, sisters who are live. One of the major things that can destroy a community is zina, fornication and adultery. And subhanallah, it is fulfillment of lust. A person acting on their lust and desire. It is not haram to have the lust and the desire, but it's haram to act on it in a certain way. So this is something that we avoid. It talked about a practical example, how a community can lose its unity in a minute. In a minute. Someone makes what they call it, a rumor or an accusation, and everybody buys it. We lost ourselves right there. You see? And subhanAllah, it happened to the best of mankind after the prophets. Who are we? So be very, very careful. Be very, very careful to engage and involve in this. Then the surah starts talking about a collection of etiquettes, social etiquettes, in private and general life. Private, seeking permission before you enter your parents' house, and all of that, and putting the hijab, taking the hijab off for the women in front of who, and who can see what. That's private life. Yeah? But in general life, also taking about the nikah and who's doing what and seeing what, and lower your gaze and all of this. So a group or a collection of etiquettes in private and non-private, married and non-married people. Then it shows the light of Sharia and the Hidayah, and the importance of the ayat of the Quran, the importance of the masajid of Allah, Surah An-Nur, the importance of the masajid of Allah, and how whatever actions a person does while disbelieving in Allah, it is like mirage, it is like nothing. It is like nothing. how Allah Azza wa Jal is there through His creation, to know through His creation and all of that, to know that those are the proofs for the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, the surah did not abandon describing the munafiqeen, how to avoid being among the hypocrites. May Allah save us subhanahu wa ta'ala. How Allah promises the believers, if they stick to the right way, that Allah will make them khalifa on this earth again. A leadership will come. You see, the surah does not abandon those things. It talks about marriage, and it talks about fornication as a destruction to that institution, right? It talks about the dignity of a Muslim, and then it talks about insulting or accusing someone. It talks about the sanctity of the believers. It talks about the rumors, how to destroy it, right? It talks about seeking permission and how it preserves also the privacy of others. It talks about marriage as a solution, regardless of the money. Then it talks about Allah Azza wa Jal, about the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal, about believing in Allah Azza wa Jal, about the hypocrites, about the Jannah, you know? And then about following Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And it talks about how you become the leader of this world. This surah did not leave things. She said, why talking about Yawm al-Qiyamah and talking about the leadership on earth and talking about fornication and talking about marriage? Man, the subjects are not related. They're very related. They are very related, because the surah is talking about what? A healthy society. And it's talking about what the things can make it unhealthy. And how can you cure it? How can you prevent it? فهذا في سورة An-Nur. Inshallah, next time we will talk about the different approaches of Surah An-Nur. I will be quoting from about 15 tafsir, okay? About 15 different tafsir. So next time we'll talk about the different schools of tafsir. The tafsir that uses only the Quran and the Sunnah and the opinions of Sahaba, that's a school. And a school is handling it with opinion, ijtihad يعني. And that opinion is not like haphazard opinion, it's an opinion also based on analogy and based on Quran and Sunnah and all of that. It is not just coming out of a vacuum يعني. And the tafsir, which is, that's another school. And another school which is the tafsir of a specific angle. A specific angle. The angle of fiqh, the angle of akhlaq, the angle of history, historical, the angle of politics. For those tafsir, we have a good blend from them that hopefully, inshallah, we handle Surah An-Nur in a very practical manner, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan for listening, and may Allah reward you for your patience. May Allah enable us, inshallah, to be among those who listen and follow the best of what they listen to. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Jazakallah khairan. See you next Wednesday, inshallah.